It's flowing, flowing, flowing. So I got that part. Got that. I'm going to open up a Loom session. Start recording. Okay. And hopefully Stephanie, Seth, Aiden, the cameras, Matt, Tej, Ben, and Sophie. Okay, if you have any issue about it, put a note. Okay, so Daniel, you want to moderate? Is there anyone else that wants to join Daniel in moderating the chat? Any volunteers?
I can do it.
Okay. So Destiny, you want to join them in just moderating the chat if there's anything? Do you mind?
Yeah, I
Destiny,
can do it.
thank you so much. I appreciate
How
it.
was your break, Dr. Rush?
It was great.
What'd you get up to?
What did I get up to? I had some good fun, and then I got to do stuff that I needed to do all along. So
Oh no.
but it was good. I enjoyed it. So, and last year I was telling folks I went to South Beach last year, and I was there was those shootings last year, and I was a half hour before the shooting. I passed by that. It was right in front of Mango's. I just on Ocean Drive. I passed by there, and I didn't even need any AI to tell me that that was bad news coming, And then when I saw it on the news, I said I could have predicted that. So I didn't go to South Beach this time. But anyways, I've seen enough over there. So I heard it's kind of low. It was located, all went to Fort Lauderdale. But anyways, okay, guys. So let's talk about it. Everything is done. I welcome you back after spring break. Hopefully, most of you are in a position to understand what I'm communicating. If you're not overly spaced out. So I'm looking forward to the next part of our semester. One is a little bit of housekeeping. I've graded the 2 parts to your exam. I have not made it a curve yet, but it may be 10%. I'm considering doing like 10% for each part of the test there. In general, I didn't look specifically on the curve of the first or the second part. The second part, people did better than the first, so I'm not going to curve the second part, because if I curved it, people in, I guess, in their 80s wouldn't do well. So I had that. So I'll work on that. The final curve will be at the end of the semester, and hopefully there's just a few people in the classes that need to consider what they want to do with the semester. At the end of tonight, I need to submit a report to the deans of who is having issues in this class. I don't know when does anybody know when the last date to drop is? I'm not sure. But I guess you can figure that out. You can it must be online somewhere to figure out what the last day for drop is. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. You have under announcements, and I want everybody to know this, April 17th, we will be meeting again in the SBA 204. So we meet physically together. We get to see each other in 204. So if you have any plans.
What day again did you say? What day?
April 17th, Wednesday. It's on the announcements.
That's the final exam date?
It's a second exam. We'll talk about it. So it's your second exam, April 17th. The exam will cover the new chapters that we'll cover in this semester, which will be cloud computing, artificial intelligence, enterprise compute, enterprise resource planning. But I will also cover chapters 4 and 5, which will be security and data management. The second exam will follow the same format, which is one multiple choice, and the second will be open-ended questions. Today I'm going to cover cloud computing, which is TG3, Tech Guide 3. I'll cover that with you today. What we'll spend every week till the end of the semester, we will spend on your projects. Your projects will deal with generative AI products, in a review of those using your generative AI, and you will be able to, this will be in a group situation. I also am I have an academic partnership with a company called Wix. Many of you may be familiar with it, WIX. They're a company that I've helped mentor as well. And I have a special academic partnership where we get upgraded. My classes only get upgraded to a business plan, a paid plan, but we will get it for free. So we will get a domain name, a full domain name, for free for a year. So we'll also do a website, and we'll also do recordings. I'll show you how to do a podcast as well. And you can choose your own groups. There's 4 to a group. And if you like the group you're in, you can stay in your group. If you'd like to form a group with others that have areas, for instance, in generative AI, for instance, you may want to do marketing. You may want to do look at tools to help with social media, or looking comparisons, for instance, of Gemini and ChatGPT and others, or look at Copilot for Microsoft. We'll discuss that. Every week we'll set up proposals of each group, what they have to do. I will sign off on each group, and in each group I will give tasks to do for that week. I am going to be a part of everybody's group, and I expect that, not like it was for in the first semester, or otherwise maybe you don't want to stay in this group. If you're not on time, you will be penalized if you don't do the work on time. This way, we'll work on our projects, and the last day of class, you will be presenting your projects. We will be presenting our projects via Zoom. And each group will present their projects, and I will give you feedback for your projects. After I give feedback I expect those projects to be complete, but I will be giving you feedback on how to improve your project. You can take my advice and improve it, or you can leave it as is. I suggest you take my advice and improve it. And at the time of the final exam, that is when your project uploaded will be complete. Before you complete your project, after you meet with me in the final presentation, you will be, with your group, will be recording a formal presentation, because with me, you may be even doing just like 7 minutes or something. You will be then putting your final project, you will be doing it with Zoom, of course, without a password, and you'll be uploading it along with your other materials to the audit area of what we'll start already on Wednesday, being a separate folder with the new groups with your final projects. And that's it. So if you have any other questions, or you can put them in the chat. Otherwise, I will start my lectures. So on Wednesday, we'll start talking about the projects, and you can think about it, what areas, what my goal here for your project is you come away with skills, that you come away not just doing a review, but actually you know how to use some of these generative AI tools and how to be critical of those, and think about each of your groups. You'll be like consultants giving advice, and you'll also be recording via podcast and recording via video your experiences using generative AI. Okay? And we'll go into that more on Wednesday. Any questions in general? Otherwise, I'm going to start. So I'm going to share my
So
screen.
we don't have class after the last day of classes, or like we don't have like a exam day where we go in person?
That is correct.
All right.
So that second exam, we meet in person on April 17th. And then the last day of class, we're going to do presentations, and the time of the exam, that's when all your final projects will be done, will be submitted. Okay? You got it, Philip? Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Great. And that way, what I like about it, that way we can concentrate on the projects, and that can be our main focus. Also, then we don't have to worry about for the finalist exam where everyone is. People can be anywhere in the world, right? Or submit, and also for your presentations as well, because it will be online. Okay? But Philip, make sure you know, and everyone does, that put a note on your calendar, April 17th, you have to meet with me. Real time in the SBA 204. And those that need extra time or need special assistance can see me after the class if you need to make special arrangements. Okay? But I think we did pretty well last time. What do you think, Philip, in terms of how it worked out? I mean, logistically, I think it worked out.
Yeah, definitely.
I think everybody had enough time, don't you think?
For
And,
the exam time?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody had enough time. I just,
Yeah,
when you go
the
into an
question is
exam,
about whether they did it as well as something else, okay? But
yeah,
you'll see your
I mean, like
exam,
you
right?
go into an exam that you don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, but now
So
you do. I think the second exam will be a bit
hopefully,
less.
yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? At least you know how to study better. You know what I mean? And I think there was a lot of anxiety just because we didn't even have an idea what it is. So I think we got that
Definitely,
out of the way.
definitely.
Okay, so let me just make sure on announcements, just so everybody knows. See on the exam to April 17th. This is a must. So there's not a thing where somebody said, oh, I made arrangements. I have to go see my parents. I have to see this. I have to do a flight. All of that doesn't matter anymore. April 17th, you know well in advance. You knew it from the first day, but now if you forgot, you know it now. Wednesday, April 17th in SBA 204. Same time, same place. Okay. All right. So, and since we're the last class, we even have as much time as we need to. So we were pretty good. Okay, we got that. Now let's go to what's due. My what's due section, what I've done on the what's due is I condensed it so you only see what's due for, we'll start almost like this is the next part of the semester. So due March 25th, which is a week from today on Monday, is Tech 3 Cloud. Sometimes it's called TG3 Cloud Computing. We need to do one for the quizzes and one for the adaptive assignment. We need to read these two articles, which are about cloud computing. So if I look at that first let me just make sure I do that. Let me go to assignment and quizzes. And in my assignment and quizzes, let me make this, I want to make this edit mode so I can see what I have available. I'm going to make Tech Cloud 3. I'm going to edit the test options. And I'm going to make it in a, make it available. Add new announcements. And I am going to keep it at 2 attempts. Michael Vessels, I thought about doing 1 attempt, but I think it's better just 2 attempts because these quizzes basically don't count for much. You get some credit from very little, but it helps study for the exam. So I'm keeping it as 2 attempts. And the due date, but what I am going to be more strict as is when it's the due date that it needs to be done before the class of the due date. Some of you were kind of, some of you were slacking on that. So it's on the 25th. And let me make it, I'll make it at 6:30 p.m. And let me move this so I see.
Professor, could you make it so it shows the correct answers after the due date?
It was always after the due date. If you clicked
No,
on your, if you clicked on your grade, you got to see your grade. You didn't know that?
yeah, the grade, but not the correct answer.
No, you
Like
got the answers, no?
no, look.
What did you get? All answers submitted. Okay. And show incorrect questions.
It shows which one's incorrect, but not which one's correct.
Well,
So
isn't
say
that,
you get one wrong, it doesn't
yeah.
show you which one's right.
What do you mean it doesn't show? But it
Like it
shows you
just
what
says
was incorrect. It shows that you answered incorrectly.
yes, and then it shows what you answered, but not what actually is the correct answer.
And you can't figure that out from the
Well,
first
you
and second.
you could.
Okay. So I'm going to submit. Okay. So then I have the tech cloud computing. So what's so that's available. And now I need also, but thanks for the feedback. I need a Wiley Plus. And in Wiley Plus, I also have Tech Cloud, which I need to edit. I need to permit the users to view, submit. So you should be able to see it. And now, if I log into that and go to Cloud Adaptive Assignment, I open the assignment. There should be no one taking it, right? Because I just made it available, and now I'm going to go to options, edit the assignment, and do next step. And it should be Tech Guide TG3 Cloud Computing, set a due date, assign it not to an individual, but the entire class. Click on next, the due date being next week. And we'll do it on that Monday then, right before class, 6:30. Save it and save. Okay, so we've saved the assignment of cloud computing. What's next? I think we're good. So we have the open assignments we should have seen. And then if I go back, I have this one. We noticed that we posted the assignment for Tech Cloud. Okay, and we go to what's due, and I see in what's due my cloud. Okay. Okay, so on notice I have under, so what I would like you to do before Monday is to do the quiz, just like you did before, do the adaptive assignment, read these 2 articles, plus read through the Wiley book about cloud computing, and then answer these questions. Be prepared to answer these questions. What is cloud computing? What are the benefits? What are the types of cloud computing? Explain public, private, and hybrid clouds, type of cloud services. So this is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. What are the uses of cloud computing, and what are some examples by industry? So if you look at this, Destiny, this looks like a possibility for one open-ended question for the second exam. You see that, Destiny? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. So in this case, Destiny, I have something called AWS. And have you ever heard of that before, Destiny?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so in this case, and it says .Amazon. So who do you think owns AWS?
Probably Amazon.
Yeah, probably Amazon. And then there's another cloud service called Azure. Have you ever heard of them? AZURE. And who do you think owns that?
I'm not too sure. I can't really see.
Can you see
Oh,
it?
Microsoft.
Microsoft, right? So basically, if you think about it, is that Azure is by Microsoft, Amazon are one. So there are 3 vendors that are most popular in the cloud computing services. One is Amazon, AWS, and the other one is Azure. And the third one, if you thought about the third one, Seth, is who owns Google, who owns YouTube? Seth.
Yeah,
Who owns YouTube?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so when we're not sure, what do we do?
I'll look it up.
Okay. So in this case,
Google owns YouTube.
Google owns YouTube. Okay, so do you think do you think there's a lot of data to be stored in YouTube? A lot of
Absolutely.
video, absolutely. You think they have like server farms up the kazoo, right? Like millions of servers out there. And basically, so Google's the third one that are the most popular. So what I do is what I do for next week then is go to these, and you can even start, it doesn't matter which one you start with. So if I open it up in a new tab, you could see here, this is AWS. AWS appears to be the most profitable subsidiary within Amazon. Isabel, have you ever shopped with Amazon? I'm sure you have, right? Have you ever ordered, Isabel?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you would think, I order all the time from Amazon, and you would think that that would be the most profitable for Amazon, and it's not. What's the most profitable, which is interesting, is what they call it Amazon Web Services. Let me write that down. So it's basically AWS stands for Amazon web services. And that basically allows for cloud computing. And you know, Isabel, you know cloud computing, you just maybe never thought about it in terms of it, right? If you've ever used, do you ever use cloud storage, Isabel?
Yeah,
What do you use?
on my phone, it's all cloud
Right.
storage.
It's all cloud storage on your phone, right? On OneDrive. Basically, there's all the things in terms of, even when I think about it, when you ever use Gmail?
Yeah.
All of that is cloud, right? All my emails, all my documents are stored in the cloud, right? So basically, cloud computing, when you think about it, what I suggest you do is run this video, and it will go over what is cloud computing. You know it, but it allows you to think to yourself, why would a company that's either starting or a company that is a Fortune 500 or a university, why would they need cloud computing services that they're paying on-demand delivery for IT resources? So when you think about it, Garen, how did we get to NinjaTrader in the class?
Through Azure.
Through
It's like
Azure,
a
right?
virtual.
Right. We
desktop.
basically, if I go to open this in a new window, even, right? What is cloud computing here? I see this as well. They're connecting. I don't want to participate, but I see that if I look at their solutions, right? And I look at their products, notice, Garen, it says, you see this one? It says Azure Virtual Desktop. Enable a secure remote desktop experience from anywhere. That's exactly what they did. And what did I tell our IT people at the university? I needed to use what? NinjaTrader that runs on Windows, and I'm doing an online class that I'm not in the lab. How can my students use that without going to the lab? And we can use it while I'm teaching online. And they came back to me and they said, we have a solution for you. I gave them what my problem was, and they came up with their solution. And it turns out that the university, Garen, is Microsoft basically is selling services to them, and they're an Azure basically client. And basically what they said is, we're going to set up a virtual desktop for you, Dr. Rush. And just so you know, is the university is having to pay as you go to get this service. And Garen, did you think that I wanted you guys to pay?
No.
No. And I said, we're paying enough, and this should be education for us, and we do not want to pay. You should be giving this as a service, just like they're not, the university is paying for Blackboard, but we're not, they're charging it within the fees, right, of how much we're paying, right? So basically they said, okay, we'll do it. And then also they said, pay as you go. I told them, we're not using it 24/7. We're just going to be using it maybe for a month. And only assignments. So you can think that this is their service. They have a virtual machine. You can use SQL. Have you ever heard of SQL, Garen? What that is?
I have not heard of that. No.
Okay, so we can look it up. But if we looked at Microsoft SQL, SQL is basically stands for, in this case, a query language that you can query. It's like the standardized query language for databases. It's an old language that people still use. And guess what? Now that AI is coming to existence, they're probably going to have a way in which you can say in English what you want to retrieve, and it will convert it to the SQL language. And notice, look at this, build AI ready apps. So all of this SQL, all these products here, if you look at any of these products, you can see. So and if I look at products in AWS, Garen, do you think they're going to have similar products? You bet they do, because guess what? They all compete with each other. And how do they compete with each other? If one gets it, one vendor gets it, the other ones get it. And notice here on database, you see here it's going to be Amazon's database. They'll have SQL as well. And notice they have business analytics. If you want to do any analytics, you want to do any application integration, you want to use blockchain, you want to be a contact center, you want development tools, you want machine learning, you want robotics. You can see that all of these are their feature services and storage. And you can see under their solutions, look, Garen, under their solution, they go by use case. If I want to archive or I want to back up, think about it. If we were a university, they want to back up all their files, back up all their recordings. They want to basically, in this case, deliver some content, data, or by industry. They all now compete by industry. So by industry, it's, are you in advertising and marketing? Reimagine data-driven marketing. So if you're a marketing major, notice it says innovate faster, operate more efficiently, interoperate together with multi-built AWS. Now we know what AWS stands for. Amazon Web Services, their solutions. They get 150 partners. People make money just by supporting Amazon. And then they have here a little video on why it's good for advertising, right? Unprecedented, seek to improve across, innovate faster. So you can think about what are the benefits. If I ask you what are the benefits of cloud computing, you can basically, this is part commercial, right? But they say innovate faster, optimize cost performance, improve interoperability, meaning that, what does that mean? That I can use number of different systems and trade off. So they say who uses it? Salesforce uses it, the trade desk, real-time bidding strategy, triple limit new units for ads, audience privacy, ad intelligence. So this is Amazon Web Services, what I can look at it. And then when I look here, under, I can see AWS for higher education. And again, it says, what is cloud computing? I can play it, it's
Cloud
on
computing
YouTube.
is the on-demand delivery of IT resources via the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. Instead of buying, owning, and maintaining physical data centers and servers, you can access technology services such as computing power, storage, and databases.
So just like this, Garen, basically, I can rent out computers. So if we were going to start a company together, Garen, what's your major?
Finance and legal studies.
Okay, finance. And let's say we even wanted to do something with lawyers, right? We wanted to teach lawyers, our services were legal services with AI, helping create briefs with AI. Can you imagine every lawyer, right, Garen, is going to now have to have what? Have basically use an AI assistant to help them with their briefs. And one of the things with their briefs, then we would then design the system. And in the beginning, we would develop that system. Garen and I said, you know what? I don't want to buy the hardware because I don't even know, number one, if we're going to succeed. Number two, we have no clients. So why buy hardware when I don't know where we're going and then I can't scale up? So this way, I'm going to then rent out databases. I'm gonna say, hey, if we're gonna be doing some heavy duty programming for our programmers, let them get the fastest
On an
chips
as-needed basis from a cloud
as an
provider or web
needed
service.
service.
Organizations of every type, size, and industry are using the cloud for a wide variety of use cases, such as data backup.
So data backup, can you imagine in law firms, do they need data backup? Of course they need data backup. So you can basically use those web servers instead of storing it on their premise. And what does premise mean? On their facilities, we can do that on
Disaster
backup.
recovery,
Disasters.
virtual desktops, software development and testing,
So virtual desktop, it's like a virtual desktop like what we use. We used a remote access, which was a virtual, it wasn't our desktop that we used running NinjaTrader, it was theirs.
big data analytics,
And think about big data analytics. If we were a law firm, what could we end up doing? It was maybe we could do data analytics that if somebody gave us a case, we could say, what's the, basically, what is the probability that we'll win the case? Or what type of jury verdict will we get? Or what can we expect to get the jury to decide on what was our cut in the trial?
customer-facing web applications. For example, healthcare companies are using the cloud to develop more personalized treatments for patients.
So basically all that drug, how they got the vaccines, basically looking at our DNA, all of that, we don't have machines that are strong enough to do it. And even we did, why put out that capital outlay? So if I have my DNA structures, I can find the best
Financial services
personalized
companies
one.
are using the cloud to power real-time fraud detection and
So I want to find fraud detection. I want to see where's there any fraud in terms of even in the stock market. Is there insider trading?
prevention. And video game makers are using the
And
cloud
of course, with video, right? Video gamers, this is
to
going to
deliver
be.
online games to millions of players around the world. With cloud computing, your business can become more agile, reduce costs.
So agile means that I'm more flexible. I can reduce the cost because I don't need to do capital outlay.
Instantly scale and deploy globally in minutes.
So in this case, I can have servers. If I go with AWS or Google or Microsoft, they have servers everywhere in the world. So if I was doing financial trading, then Garen, I would want my server where? Not in Honolulu, but I want my servers right next to the NASDAQ. So I could have quicker returns.
Cloud computing gives you instant access to a broad range of technologies, so you can innovate faster and build nearly anything you can imagine. From infrastructure services such as compute, storage, and databases, to Internet of Things, machine learning, data analytics, and much more.
So of course this is a commercial. And of course we have it there, but at least we get what is happening in the real world. So that's why when I have Dude, this is why I want you to look at what is cloud computing. You can see it on both ends. And in Microsoft, you can see on Microsoft, they're going to be showing you the same, more or less. They're going to tell you what is cloud computing. And basically when they talk about it, is cloud computing is the delivery of computing services. So it's hardware, servers, storage, database, networking. Doesn't this look like all our chapters, right? Software, analytics, and of course, they're going to bring in now, the big thing is to bring in intelligence. And what does it mean, the cloud? It means over the internet. It means going through a browser. And what's the idea? Is that it's flexible. It means that I can scale. What does scale mean? It scales that if I have many customers, I can get up quickly. And if then all of a sudden we decide to take a break, I don't have to pay for it. So it's going to help me lower my operating costs, run my infrastructure, which is my hardware part, my platform and scale my business needs. And if you look at it, they tell me the exact same thing. What are the top benefits of cost, speed, productivity? It looks just the same. They're not telling me what are the risks. So here, the type of cloud computing, I can have private, I can have public. Public is what we're used to. So if I think about this, Gabriella, when I, on my email, I'm using the public cloud. When I use my Gmail or my Outlook, I'm using the public cloud. It means that I have password protected. I use a third party like Microsoft or Google, but my data is shared on the same hardware. Do I know where my data is? I have no clue. Gabriella, do you have any idea where your data is? No clue. But we're feeling somewhat secure that we're there. But if we were like a bank, or if we were like the Defense Department, we would want then a private cloud that those resources are exclusively for a single business or an organization. A private cloud can be physically located on the company's on-site data center, or they can pay somebody that I know where my data is stored. That's what they call a private cloud. And all the major vendors provide a public cloud, a private cloud, or a hybrid that I combine both. Some of my data is not so important that I don't mind it being shared. Some of it, I'm so paranoid about my data, I want it to be there. And then they talk about cloud services. When I talk about cloud services, Gabrielle, when I talk about cloud services, I talk about something called as a service. We know we use as a service all the time. It's just for companies, they can host their own hardware and software, or they can use it as a service that we're used to do it. My Instagram is as a service. Basically, anything I use on my phone is as a service. I can have an infrastructure as a service, and that consists of all my hardware. I can have a platform as a service, and you can use another term here, Gabriella. Instead of platform as a service, put in your notes operating system. Platform as a service, you can think about it, is a way to develop and test, just like we know we had to use Windows, and many of you didn't have Windows on your machines, so we used their platform as a service, Azure, and we use Windows. We could have used Windows on Amazon, but our university uses Azure, so we used Azure. And software as a service, we use it all the time in the way that it's going to be software. So if I go back and go to PowerPoint and documents, Isabella, I go to PowerPoint 9th edition, I'll look for TG3 Cloud Computing PowerPoint. And when I look at that, it looks like what those articles from Azure and Microsoft is. The only difference is this is a bit more objective, but it's talking about the same questions, isn't it? What is cloud computing? What is the different types of clouds? What are cloud computing services? What are the benefits of cloud computing? But here, Amazon, Google, and Microsoft don't talk about the concerns and risks with cloud computing. And this is something that I want you to be thinking about. and writing about, right? Because why don't they want to talk about their concerns and risks? Because they want to sell you something. You know, everybody wants to show the same site. You know, you go visit any salesman, right? Or somebody's going to try to sell you. They usually don't say, oh, but you should be careful not to do this. Or here's some concern. So you want to know what is the concerns, but the benefits outweigh possibly the risks. And there's security risk, but there's security risk by being on your own, not using them. When we were in the lab, we were not, you remember when we took the test in the lab, Gabriella, when we took the test in the lab, we didn't have to worry about part of the cloud computing, but the problem was what? I had to have 2 or 3 folks there helping me with the hardware. Because we had problems. And what did we do? We didn't do anything so complicated. What did we do? We used Respondus, and then we had to go into using Blackboard, which is a cloud service too, software as a service. And do you think the university hosts it? No, the university doesn't want to even bother doing it. They have enough trouble just even maintaining those computers, which aren't the greatest in the world, are they? So when you think about it, you need to know what is, as that infrastructure as a service. This is a review, Gabriella, from what we learned before. An infrastructure, what makes an infrastructure in IT information technology is hardware, right? That what we saw was those servers, the hard drives, the CPU, software, and that includes the operating system. It includes something like the software, whether it's Word, whether it's NinjaTrader, the networks, how we were connected all together to print something, the databases, and the IT services that develop the information, manages the security enrichment, and manages the data. And then they talk about the evolution of IT security. What are the characteristics of cloud computing? And again, it's a repeat. It's on demand. Whenever I need the service, I get it and I pay as I go. So why am I running more efficiently? Is when I'm not using it, I don't pay for it. I don't have to pay the capital costs. I get what they call fault tolerance and redundancy. So Michael Russo, have you ever heard of fault tolerance and redundancy? You have any idea what that means?
No, but I can assume it's probably has something to do with the software failing and how
Yes,
often it does
perfect.
it.
I love it. I love it, Michael Russo, that you're thinking about it, right? We all don't know the answers, but what is this? Is the idea in cloud computing, can I get offline? Is there problems when sometimes I have problems with Wi-Fi, I have problems with internet connection? Has that ever happened to you in your life? Can you imagine that? Of course you can, right, Michael? And the idea is, if I'm a bank, or even I'm selling online, right? If the server crashes, do I want redundancy? Do I want my data to reside somewhere else? What do you think in this case, Michael Russo? Do I want redundancy? I sure do. And what is fault tolerance? Means that if there's a fault, the system can tolerate it and there will be backup, or it can get up quickly. So in that case, if I lose internet, I can get up. And I'm easy to scale up. It means that when I, Gabriella, have more business and we need to have a larger hard drive, we can easily scale up. When we have so much business, I need 2 servers, or I need more memory, or I need to have a faster CPU. And then when all of a sudden I'm saying, you know what? I think all of a sudden now we were giving free versions, Gabrielle. Now we're charging. We have less people interested in our product. Everybody wanted it for free, but not that many people want to pay for it. So what do? We have to scale down. So in this case, these are the ideas. So those characteristics of cloud computing then is that these cloud computing companies like Google, Amazon have these servers or these server farms all over the world. That's the key here. They have it all over the world. We talked about, and down here you can see what is a private cloud, what is a public cloud. We talked about it before. And in those private clouds, you can see here, everywhere that looks like a cloud is that they call this the Google public cloud. They call this a private because it's a firewall. It's more secure. Not everybody can gain access to it. So that's why these are a risk, that this is more, the Google public cloud is more riskier than the private cloud. So notice the private cloud, and then we have an Amazon cloud. So we can have a number of these, and some organizations have many of these. They have a Google, and they also have Amazon, and they also have Microsoft Azure. And then those services are infrastructure as a service, meaning the hardware platform is the operating system. So the key is the operating system. This is the hardware. And of course, this is the software, the software, application, software. And these are all their functions. So they show in this part, this is the difference. On-premise means what? Gabriella, what does on-premise mean? Do you have any idea, this word?
Like that it's like right there.
It's in my facility. On-premise, it's like, you remember in Zoom, you can record to the cloud or record to the computer. Which one is on-premise? Record to the
computer.
Record to the computer. That's on-premise. Infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. So these are examples on-premise, and these are in the cloud. And here it says Amazon, IBM, Google. Notice it says Azure. Also other software like Dropbox, Apple iCloud, Google Apps are all software as a service. You know this, just different terms that they're using. So they're using the same thing as those platforms. Is you can think about operating systems that are going to be. You know that, but I don't have to install it. You don't have to install it on your part. So here are the benefits. And you got in those articles as well. Here are the concerns and risks. This Amazon, Microsoft, Google on their website aren't talking about the concerns and risks. A lot of times some regulatory environments, criminal use, but problem, privacy and security. But the problem is, if I'm on my machines here and I'm connected to the internet, I probably have issues of privacy and security, even if I stored on premise. So some of these concerns, I could have it also concerns even if I don't use those outside web services. And those web services then are those controls. You got the idea, Gabriella? Makes sense? So when I go back to those questions of what's due, and now you'll be going through the exercise and quizzes and also going to the adaptive assignment on the Wiley Plus. And I go to Tech Cloud 3, I can look at any of these. What is cloud computing? and read through that as well. And I'll see the same thing of what is cloud computing. We define as the type on demand. You see that pay as you go for multiple customers to a shared pool of resources, servers, network, storage. Cloud computing allows customers to acquire resources at any time and then delete them the instance they're no longer needed. So Gabriella, if we bought some hardware like we had in the lab, we couldn't just say, hey, we don't need them next week. Dr. Rush isn't doing NinjaTrader. They can't just eliminate it. It sits there as a capital cost. And that's what's happening. Thank you, Gabrielle. Did that make sense? So part of it, you see, Destiny, part of it we already know. We just know it in different terms. But what they're talking about cloud computing here is as a corporation, as an enterprise, or starting up, how can I use these services? And I don't want to start, for many times, I don't want to buy hardware if I don't need it. I need a laptop, right? I need to get into Zoom, but do I need this heavy duty hardware if I don't even know if I'm going to be successful? And even if I am successful, I don't want to devote not only the capital cost to get the hardware, but I need then, what do I need, Garen? We got to hire a whole crew just to take care of the hardware and the software. I want to hire the crew. We want to be nimble. We want to be agile. Let Microsoft or Google do that. And then when we need people, we can hire them what? Basically hire anybody in the world to take care of that, to help us. We can even get people even have a business where they'll help you with AWS or Azure. But you say, still, you think that's so easy? Probably is not so easy. Did you see that? One time it didn't work. We couldn't even get in. You remember that first time we needed the hardware, we have some problems. So we have, the university even uses other people to help them with Microsoft. And the university is such a big client that they have dedicated people in Microsoft to help them even try to figure out how to use their products. Even their AI, the university is kind of thinking, I don't even know where to start. How do I train everybody? All they know is, I'm scared. I don't want to lose my job. So maybe we won't run into AI. But you can't put your head in the sand, but you also have to be critical what we're going to use. So what I want for our project is that we can play around with it. And what do we have to lose? We're not running a business. Garen, if you ran a business, you wouldn't want to start, but you could be a consulting service to help people say, hey, this is working well, this isn't. And you know what? Last week, this was a paid service and now they're out of business even. It's all so new, everything, but let's get some skills here that we can use and have some fun. Okay, so do I have everybody's faces here? You don't show a face, you don't get, we're going to be doing a new thing. You don't show your face, you don't get credits here for being here. Okay, so because we're filming these, because some people say that they're here. Are they really here? Who knows? Okay, Daniel, do I need to answer any questions that I have missed to make a set?
None.
Yes, no?
No questions.
No question. Destiny, thank you very much also for helping out. Any questions from anyone? So let's do this. Let's take attendance. I'll stay later, answer any personal questions that anyone has. And number 3 is on Wednesday, we'll talk about the projects, and we'll even set up with the audit. We'll set up a new tab for new groups in the audit section. So everybody be here and get their groups. We'll set that up and we'll start. And every week we'll work on our projects. And it should be fun. So that'll be kind of my gear. And then on the side, we'll have the chapters. So we'll have maybe 3 more chapters. You know, we'll have the cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and enterprise. And then we'll have, you know, maybe another one there, business analytics, like 3 or 4 chapters with the old ones. And then we'll have the exams, and everybody knows what the format is for April 17th. And then we'll have another couple of weeks after that to finish up our projects as well. So in between, so it makes it kind of fun. Okay, and Tej, any questions? You're okay? Okay. I like that new lighting you have, Tej. It's like that's purple, pink, I don't know. Like a new disco scene or something. All you need is one of those balls there. And we can have it. Okay. So let me share my screen. Let's do we'll go to attendance. Let me check in. Let's see if this will work. Who knows, right? Check in. I'm going to end check-in here, and I'm going to do a new check-in. Start check-in. Hopefully this is K4338. How does that sound? That number. Let me know if it works. Otherwise, then we'll see each other on Wednesday. I'm
Thank you
looking
very much.
forward
Have
to
a
it.
great rest of your
Thank you.
Monday.
Yes, I will. You too. And we'll
Thank you.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Thank you.
So stay
Thank
with me
you.
if you have questions. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sophie, you're okay? All right. So
I
let me
suppose
end
she is.
check-in. Daniel, you can stay with me, and then maybe you can show me what you guys came up with. Let me just
Sure.
stop. Let me stop sharing. And let me close everything.